Hello there, my name is Jordan. You're listening to the Senshi Study, a podcast where I drag my friends in to watch, discuss, and analyze every Magical Girl anime to learn what it takes to become a magical girl. Class is now in session. Hi, welcome to the Senshi Study, the 101 on magical girls. Today, I ended up having a special guest, real-life magical girl and my bestie.
Hi, I'm Kara.
So Kara will be today's study buddy, and we are watching something new today.
Yes.
The Twinkle Precure series.
Yes.
Now, I have been looking forward to do a Precure series for a long time, considering I started this and have never watched one before. Everything before was just snippets of Sailor Moon, Madoka, and every awful, bloody modern piece that comes out from Mahou Shoujo in a post-Madoka era. Do you have any experience watching, reading, or anything like that for Mahou Shoujo?
Well, aside from Madoka, not a ton. Sailor Moon, the quintessential classic. But Precure has been on my radar for about as long as I've known anime.
Yeah, and I think a little while back, I used to know that I was planning to watch the recent one, Hugto Precure, but it got way ahead of me and I got lost in the dust. Mm-hmm. And then I also recently tried watching it myself, and I probably want to give it a second try later. It looks very nice. The characters look appealing. Babies scare me, so I'm going to delay that one a little bit. But I was really happy to dive into this one, and at a really good time too. Mm-hmm. Because just when we're able to be more free to record again, back in, I think, February, we had Twinkle Precure start.
Yep.
And we'll get into the details of it later, but we'll play some theme music because class is now in session. Welcome back. So we are going to talk about Twinkle Precure episodes 1 through 3. You can go treat this like a book club. So you will hear us summarize and react and analyze every single part of this from episodes 1 through 3, opening, ending, or any small details we have along the way. On top of that, it's worth mentioning a couple disclaimers ahead of time. One, this series is not easy to find. You can't find this on Crunchyroll or Netflix. So, pirate... Or however, if you can obtain it legally, do that. Oh, and the other disclaimer is the obvious one, spoilers ahead, so watch the episodes 1 through 3 before listening to this one. Or if you just want to go straight into it and just hear what we think of it, and maybe that'll get you into it, then this would be a great way to just dive in and catch up. That way you don't have to watch the recent stuff to get into the new stuff, because we're going to be talking about what happens along the plot anyways. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go start off with episode 1. Episode 1, Shining in Space, Kira Star is Born. So, we're going to start with the actual episode, and it starts with the main character of the 4, but she's the main one.
Yes.
In the same way that Sailor Moon is the main Sailor Scout.
She's the pink one.
Yeah, she's the pink one, and as you know, the pink ones have to be the main characters. I've seen Yuki Onna as a hero, I've seen Madoka, other Precure series existed. Usually the pink one's the main character.
Yeah, I was going to say that's usually, I don't know if that's with all of them, but generally.
But like pink is to Precure or Mahou Shoujo as like red is to the Power Rangers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you usually get a red or blue in some kind of shonen.
Yeah.
Actually, surprising amount of orange. You get warm colors in a lot of shonen.
Yeah.
Alright, so we get our main character, Hikaru Hoshina, who ends up seeing a constellation, and she's just drawing things in her journal, and as she's doing so, you can get a decent pan around the room, which I really liked, because you can see that this character is a big old nerd.
Yes.
She's got so much stuff.
Definitely.
And I love her place. And it's just covered in space stuff, which immediately tells you, like, the motif of the entire series. Mm-hmm. But she's drawing, and she ends up having a constellation of something brand new as this, like, weird little figure, and I think we're introduced to our very first fairy character.
Yes.
Fua. And just like bursts out of the book and bonks her on the head.
Yeah.
And takes her to a magic wonderland.
And took my heart.
Yeah. So let's go talk about that.
Yeah.
So we're kind of expecting these characters to be really annoying.
Yeah, I normally think animal mascots are super annoying, especially if they don't speak like a human language.
Yeah, they're just like cute Pokemon that are otherwise functionless.
Yeah.
But Fua is great.
Yeah.
She like captured our hearts, and as we see right here, just right off the bat, this on top of good foreshadowing and good art, it's also a way to show Fua is useful because she's going to be able to take our characters and then like warp them through places, which is really cool. And we also get to see like part of the warp gate and like the weird, crazy world of this show's version of space or some kind of space, which is gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely. What one word to describe this show? I bet we can agree. Colorful.
Oh, it's bursting in color, and as soon as it just drops her off, it ends up going to the opening theme, which we can only describe as 1, adorable, and 2, colorful. And so I'm just going to say ahead of time, this is going to be for later as well during the ending, I love seeing characters dance. It's just a weird thing for me that I'm immediately going to give it a higher rating just because I saw characters dance. And they definitely have that in the opening. And I adore that. Let's see. And one thing that I also like is I think it also leads to some of the themes of the show, especially with the space and imagination. But we'll get into that a little bit further. So in the next morning, she sees that the little fairy creature is not there, and she's just rushing downstairs afterwards, and we get to see her family, if you remember. Yeah. Her family is grandparents and her mother.
I think so.
Yeah, notably no father, who we're told is the one who owned the weird the gigantic planetarium room where she lived in. Yeah. And she's just rushing out, says hi to parents.
But she doesn't do it right.
Yeah.
She's not respectful enough to her grandfather.
Yeah, we have to have that filial piety. Filial piety.
Filial piety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so Asian. I got this on lock.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Just an interesting touch of how they emphasize that for a little bit.
Yeah, it just shows like how much this is a kid's show. It's teaching your kids.
Behave themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect your elders.
Exactly. So she scurries on out, ends up getting herself donuts in this... And one thing I forgot to mention, now that we're talking about like how she goes out to get donuts, stars everywhere.
Yes.
If I put this on a video, I kind of wanted to go through episode 1 and comb through like a little arrow and a ding mark every single time there's a star on screen, but it would take so long for editing. I kind of want to do that someday, though, because there's stars all over her outfit. She ends up meeting this friend of hers, Mr. Rio, who I think we described as like Dr. Light.
Yeah, he's just Dr. Light.
He's straight up Dr. Light, and his outfit's covered in stars too. And she ends up like taking her donuts, ends up taking it easy by like a little tree or something like that.
I think I can read this note now. I think I wrote Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan?
Yeah, I don't remember why I did that though.
Oh, weird. That's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely Dr. Light, and then was it Dr. Light that was wearing Mabel's sweatshirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dr. Light, on top of having like little stars around his outfit, also had this rainbow across his apron.
Oh,
yeah.
Jackie Chan, the grandfather looks like the grandfather from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Like uncle.
Yeah, the uncle.
Yeah. Or I guess Jade's grandfather. But yeah.
Yeah. So many references. They're not references.
They're not references. There's similarities.
They're coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Similar character designs. And then we see Fua just plop from the sky, and it's kind of just nice to see them unite. That's when she gets named Fua, because Fua, just
Fua.
fluffy.
Yeah, it just means fluffy.
Yep. It's just the idea of like if you have a soft dog and you name your dog Fluffy because you don't have an imagination, which is weird because that's kind of the motif of this entire show.
Yeah.
But... let's see. But things end up flashing over to some other place, and we see that there's a ship being attacked.
Yes.
And we see the greatest thing in the world.
We do.
Yeah. We gotta see Lala.
We see Lala.
So, one thing that we're just gonna have to preface, that we're huge fans of Lala. We think that she's SSS tier character design.
She's the best
ever. She's best girl. I love her so much.
Absolutely.
After like watching the series, I went to an Uwaji's and immediately bought a little Lala charm.
I'm so jealous.
And yeah, you should be. And I just have it in my room so I can wake up and see it every single day. And it blesses us every single day.
Yeah.
Like after I got her, it's just been like the most magical time.
Yeah.
I just believe in Lala's magic. And we get to see that they're being attacked right now. And luckily, back on Earth, Fua ends up creating this crazy huge warp gate, And that's when Lala's spaceship crashes onto Earth. And we get to see like this dramatic scene of like things landing. And we get to see like the doors open.
The door opens and it's light, and you just see the silhouettes of like
this two aliens.
Of these two aliens. One has antennas just wiggling around.
The other's a slime creature floating around.
So ominous, so terrifying.
Yeah.
And then we see her.
Yep.
And she's sick.
Oh, she's terribly space sick. And immediately just like falls out to like just vomit, cry, whatever it's going to be in this case.
That's the most precious thing ever.
Oh yeah, she's so cute. And she also speaks like because she just speaks an alien language. And to make matters even worse for this little girl, she's spotted by Earthlings.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
it's never good.
Yeah, Hikaru ends up seeing both Lala and her other partner in crime, Prince.
Yeah. Who's a slime thing.
Yeah, he's a floating slime, like you've seen in like Dragon Quest and MapleStory.
Yeah.
And we'll also go into that later of how much I absolutely love Prince's design as a character. Because he's the other, like, quote-unquote fairy creature, and also, like, your guide. But I love him so much in design.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, just A+ all around right here. And then we learn that they're being, well, there's a big panic right now. Aliens spotted by Earthlings. Yeah. Not going well. Worse things come because there are more aliens coming.
More aliens.
Yeah, which we learn that they're the little grunts called the Not Rays, as they're part of a group called the Not Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were called that. I wonder if there's like not, or it's like, oh, astronaut.
Oh,
maybe like astronaut.
It might just be because it sounds cool. Let's be honest. It's an anime.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they're being attacked by little aliens in little gray spacesuits and stuff like that, and they need to escape. So all four of them, Fua, Hikaru, Lala, and Prince, run straight into the rocket. I guess Hikaru sneaked onto there.
Yes, she did sneak on.
Yeah. And aliens don't take kindly to the idea of having Hikaru inside there. But they did bring Fua, so they have that going for them. But the spaceship keeps getting attacked by whatever's up there.
Minor detail that we might have left out.
Yeah?
Lala and Prince were looking for Fua.
Yes, that they ended up trying to search for Fua for some mysterious reason. That Fua...
Yes.
Again, one thing I like is that Fua is part adorable mascot creature, part adorable daughter pet thing, and also is a really useful plot device. Mm-hmm. Like, she's useful into this series. She's like a possible MacGuffin / savior, and I really like that. To make sure that, we need every single one of our main characters and every single Precure. Everybody's important here. Nobody's really disposable, even the side mascot characters, and I really appreciate that in this series.
Yeah.
And as this place keeps getting bombarded with like missiles, attacks, or lasers or whatever over and over, there is a rip into the spaceship, and Fua is sent flying out of there, and we just immediately gasped.
I gasped so loudly.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this series, but it turns us back to children.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's the thing. We have no problem watching some of the like really dark Mahou Shoujo series out there. We've seen some of the dark scenes. We've seen the dark clips. Both of us are huge fans of Madoka. But for some reason, when we're watching the series, we're back to children again, gasping, and I feel like I'm my 5-year-old self watching Pokemon and Kids WB again, or whatever it is on 4Kids or Toonami. Yeah. In a weird way, the series is just really magical to us. But yeah, Fua is just sent flying out there, and of course Hikaru has to just save because he gotta protect. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just really cute. And there's this really wonderful part of the scene in which everything goes completely silent.
Yes.
Yeah, and like, oh god, is she dead? I mean, we know that she won't be, but there's a certain suspense to it. And we get to see, well, after Hikaru ends up saving Fua, Fua ends up transforming her notebook that was passed down to her by Mr. Rio that was like inside her father's, who I guess has some relationship to her father, something like that.
Yeah, I think I missed that. I don't remember
astronomers
that
or something like that. But this was like Mr. Rio's like notebook that he passed on to her. Mm-hmm. Weird, mysterious reasons behind that. Mm-hmm. But it turns out this thing is surprisingly magical because Fua turns this notebook into a magic notebook, which looks like amazing merch. And also she gets a color pendant and also gets a little color pen, which again, we're trying to go back to, of course, you need your accessories and your merch because this is a Precure series. But you also have like this wonderful things with the book and the pen. It goes back to this theme of like drawing and imagination, just like the very beginning of the episode. Mm-hmm. And that's when we see our first transformation, Kira Star. And one thing that really surprised us is that they sing their transformations, and it's really precious.
It's so pure.
Yeah, and I love the actual way they animate the transformations as well. It's happy and it's cute, and of course it's so colorful. Each of the 4 Precures, as we'll go along the way, have their own motif or symbol as well. This is Cure Star, so of course she gets a star. Lots of pink around there, and I think one thing that we're just gushing about is the way she puts on the outfit as well.
Yeah.
Because she has her color pen,
Yeah.
and she draws on her outfit.
And it's...
And not just draws it on, she has like almost like a brush, and she puts it over her head, and like little headdress appears. She puts it, my favorite part of the transformation is when she puts it over her leg as well, and there's this whole like cosmic galactic legging that we absolutely adore.
Oh, it is just
I wish changing
so creative.
It's a really creative transformation, and I wish it makes me wish I can just transform like that as well.
Oh, I wish.
Why can't I just draw my own transformation? It makes me wish I were a better artist. But God, if I can just like draw on my clothes.
It'd be wonderful.
And like they're all like gorgeous and decorated in anime. But we get to see her transform. She becomes Cure Star. And we also see our first enemy, Capard, who, as we know, is Kappa Picard. This show really likes their space motifs. And it was really nice to just see her be able to punch. I think it's just, was it just Star Punch?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like fun animation. You see her just hop around these stars as she's like getting used to it. I think, oh yeah, there's also that like Sailor Moon callback of her like, oh God, what's going on?
I think it was almost exactly like a frame for frame recreation of when Sailor Moon first transformed.
Yeah. So yeah, it was almost a frame for frame mirror of the Sailor Moon reaction.
Yes.
Of like, oh, what's happening to me? What happened? Why are my clothes different? The confusion on her face was just adorable. And then just watching her gang to the rhythm of it as well as she's just jumping around in space. And I think it's funny that you ended up mentioning that earlier with this whole Sailor Moon similarity, because this entire series ends up having a shared motif with Sailor Moon. Because it's Sailor Moon and you have the different planets and it has this like relationship with space, little weird planetary things in their hair too. And this one ends up having like this very similar thing. So despite, I think this is like the 15th or 16th Precure. And it's almost like...
Too many to count.
Yeah, but it's just a fun callback to something like Sailor Moon, though. And we get to see her hop around space as she gets her space legs ready and does her signature Star Punch and is able to beat the bad guys. She's pulled back into the spaceship, and let's see what ends up happening afterward.
Do they go back down? Is that in this episode, or does
Oh yeah, they end up going back down. Kinda. There was... Right. Hikaru and Lala ended up, they're shaking hands or holding hands or something like that, and then Phil was over both their hands so they can speak to each other now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they can understand each other last second, and then we learn that the ship is in critical condition and is going to start to crash. And that's the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have the ending.
Oh my God.
Dances,
color, and
in all capitals in my notes, adorable CG.
Right. One thing we wanted to mention is that the entire ending is in CG.
Yeah.
And it's really well done and charming CG.
Amazingly done.
Yeah, and this is coming from an animatrix.
That great.
But you have
no authority on this.
But you definitely have a passion about it.
Yeah.
And this is really good CG.
Yeah, it really is.
So what do you think made this CG so good?
I can't say it in like nice, articulate, professional terms. It's just not lumpy. And it looks almost shiny. It's very clear. Because my problem with CG a lot of the time is that
it's clearly CG.
Well, not even that, because this is still clearly CG, but it's almost, the lines are almost muddier.
Okay.
Because I think you have maybe less definition than you would if it was just drawn.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I don't really know how to describe it. All I can really think of it as is fuzzier. A lot of the times in CG.
But I think they use the fuzziness really well here.
Yeah, it's really well done. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I wonder have you seen No Game No Life?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
One of the animation techniques they use in No Game No Life is instead of having a black outline for everything, they use a red one.
I have seen that, yes.
Yeah, and that makes the entire thing a lot softer and more surreal. And I think they end up having their thicker signature colors instead of having a black outline here as well. Or sometimes in CG you'll have no outline. But they end up using a soft color outline. So, for example, Lala has a bit of a cyan or seafoamish.
So.
Soleil has an orange one. Celine has a purple one. And, of course, Star has a pink one. And I think that makes a lot of softness around the edges to make it still feel very anime and to make it less jarring. I think the rest of it's maybe it also helps it feel a little bit cel-shaded as well. So you just think,
Yeah.
oh, this is just very smooth. It's very nice, like you ended up mentioning earlier. I also just have a weakness for dances.
Yeah. I think it might be sort of in the line of live 2D 3D modeling, which still looks very much 2D with some 3D elements.
Yeah.
Because I think what usually it appears off to me about CG in anime is you have these 3D models on top of backgrounds that are often still 2D animated, or maybe they're not. But a lot of the time, it's just such a huge change all of a sudden.
It's really jarring sometimes.
Yeah. All I can ever think of is when I want to think of bad CG in anime, I think no farther than the broadcast version of Meikaku City Actors.
That one's really...
Ayano's Theory of Happiness, I think.
Is that the one with like really, really intense CG?
What do you mean by... If by intense you mean awful, then yes.
Yeah.
Lifeless, awkward. Like, that's what I think of when I think of CG most of the time.
Especially
this is
in anime.
not like that at all.
Yeah. It also helps that I think they also have CG backgrounds, but they're very colorful and moving around. And I think that constant motion makes it a weird mix. It's surprisingly not too overwhelming either.
I think it might not just be that they're doing CG a certain way for this. I think it's actually just a trend in general of CG becoming better in anime, because think Zombieland Saga, just the fall before, has a very similar usage of CG. Doesn't look quite as good, but it still looks good.
Yeah, I think one thing that's very, very much growing is the use of CG has been smoother and is allowing... Oh yeah, one thing that's also really big recently is Kaguya-sama.
Yes.
And you end up having people, capture the different movements to make really good CG.
It was... I don't remember if the exact term was... I don't know if it was rotoscoped or just a similar concept, but that ending is, oh my god. I've watched the sort of frame-by-frame breakdown of that. It is gorgeous.
Also, if anybody needs an argument of why Lala is the best, if anybody's seen the extremely adorable Kaguya-sama Love is War ending and love the character Chika, it is worth mentioning that Chika and Lala actually had the same voice actress.
Yep.
And Chika's one of my favorite characters of all time, too. And it just makes it even more perfect. Things just kind of work out that way. So we've gone on about this for a long time, but it was definitely worth it, because it's just worth mentioning how much that this is just worthy of gushing over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Episode 2, A Friend from Space. Cure Milky is Born. Alright, so...
I wonder who that is.
And if you remember, we just had a huge crash. And we're going to conclude the crash. And Lala's going to try to fix her rocket, and she's an absolute wonderful genius. And I think one thing we didn't get to emphasize as much last episode, that we get to emphasize this episode, is her antenna.
Yes, her antennae, oh my...
Yeah, so pretty early in the episode, we also get to see the functioning of her antenna. So she gets to go talk to her AI.
Yes.
She gets to use these things to repair. They have little bits of electricity as she's able to use these to give Prince massages. And they have the most adorable greeting in the world on her planet.
Oh my god.
So, you know how, oh my god, is this do you think this might be a reference to E.T. in a way?
Very possibly.
Yeah, so you know how, for anybody listening, because this is amazing to talk about this for an audio-only medium.
Oh yeah,
and,
absolutely.
There's that part in E.T. in which they just touch the tips of their fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with Lala's people, they end up having their antenna just touch the very end.
Oh my god, it's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, I love it so much. And the way that Lala ends everything with Lun, and then Prince ends everything with Prince. I know it's like a cutesy anime thing that works a lot. This is one of those times I would say this works a lot better in Japanese. But I absolutely love those tiny quirks right there. They're just so, so cute. We also have Prince explaining our main...
Exposition time.
Yeah, exposition time, our main plot. So he explains that, one, there's the whole idea that they're trying to go hide Fua right now because aliens are going to try to take her. 2, that there's 12 star princesses who protect the universe and they're scattered because their planet went bye-bye. 3, the Not Raiders are the bad guys. And 4, there are heroes that they're trying to look for, and that's the reason that Lala and Prince need to go find Fua, because with Fua's help, Fua is able to get the Precures, which, roll credits, that's the name of the meta-series. The Precure are basically magical warriors in this series.
Yeah.
There's and I think that's just so straightforward. I love it.
They're the Sailor Scouts.
They're the Sailor Scouts. They're the ones here to defend the universe. And one thing I found really surprising with the series is how accessible it was, because this is the upteenth something Precure series in the meta series. And I am a person who was actually usually pretty daunted by meta series, whether it was Digimon or Power Rangers or whatever else was on TV, because I always felt like I had to watch some level of the earlier ones to get it.
Yeah, like when I first saw Lala, I was like, oh, I've got to watch this new Precure. But like, do I need to watch the previous ones first? I'm going to look up and see how many. It can't be that bad.
Yeah.
It was like 700 episodes so far.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah, because there is... it was about 700 episodes, because there are about 15-ish series, and each series is planned to go on for an entire year with nearly no stops. So that's about 50 episodes per series. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I was really worried, like, oh my god, do I need to have actually watched all of these?
Because I don't know anything about Precure. I don't know anything about the previous ones. And I know that they plan on having crossover events every single year, just as... because they're just fun, and that's what you do when you have a meta series. You play with the idea.
Like the Doctors.
Exactly. And with Power Rangers, when like all of them are in the same wonderful Dragon Ball Z canyon thing. The whole like rock quarry thing. But for Precure, this is a really accessible series.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, and I feel like I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, we had so much fun, and we felt like we know everything that's going on with the series. We feel like experts, despite being so new to Precure. And that's something I really appreciate of how good of a job they did to make sure that each generation can be somebody's favorite generation, no problem.
Like, it's obvious that, yes, they're talking about something that has this big history about it that other people know a lot about, but you don't feel like you're missing pieces. You're just like, okay, this is, something that exists, and, they're trying to get the next generation or whatever.
Yeah, and
you don't feel the need to have known what happened in the past.
Yeah, and with the concept of a meta series, you can just jump in to this new series, and it's pretty much a soft reboot each time. And that makes it so easy to just have fun with it. All we need to know about Precure is, cool, they're the warriors that save the universe. Got it, and the good guys are looking for them. Got it.
Yep.
All right, so unfortunately...
And the bad guys.
And the bad guys are looking for it because, well, they're the ones trying to stop it. And
Very popular.
And they're trying to go take these pens as well to make sure that they can't... Well, these are just, MacGuffins for power, so
yes,
naturally the bad guys want them too. So after that, we learned that they need to go home because this is just... Well, it's getting laid out. And unfortunately, there's a rule right now that Prince and Lala are not allowed to be found. Because they're aliens, and some intergalactic law says that they can't be spotted by aliens, aliens in their perspective.
Yeah.
Or other creatures that have not discovered space travel or discovered other aliens first. So that makes sense. You don't want to be discovered. You're going to be humans.
Especially by humans.
Oh, humans are terrifying. They're going to want to build a wall. It's terrifying.
I'm sure Earth is like the place that aliens like lock all their spaceship doors when they pass by.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's the space ghetto right there. Yeah. Just be very careful of it. Well, Prince and Lala are illegal aliens in this case.
Yeah.
So they need to be sneaked into Hikaru's room, and this is one thing that I found really fun is that Prince, because he's this little tentacle jelly blob thing, you get to have a lot of fun with his plasticity and the ways he can actually use this for an actual application. So you see that he actually has his tentacles reach at the very top of the room and like pull them up in the most adorable way.
It's magical.
It really is, and it makes me just love Prince even more because if all he was like a guide who gave exposition, that'd be fine. If he was that, plus also cute, that would be fine. But the way he's also useful and also gets to express weird creative ways, it's even better. And later on in the series, we also can see the way he deforms into different shapes, and it's very expressive and fun to work with. And maybe they're not, but I can feel like if you're an animator with this, you're having some level of fun.
Oh, they've got to be.
Yeah. So they're pulled up to Hikaru's room, which is a little unnerving for Prince and Lala because everything is about aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Right? Well, it'd be like if I just went over to your room for the first time and I saw that there were like maps of Asia everywhere. I was like, wow, I see you have an interest in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Or but a poorly formed version of an imagination of Asia. Like, it's vaguely Forbidden Temple and vaguely anime.
Awful. Oh my god.
But it's just kind of funny to see that, like, oh, you have a lot of stuff about aliens in here. And, like, she has, like, little pictures of herself with the alien grays in the background. And you get to see Lala, like, react to, like, oh, this is a book. And realize, oh, right, she can't read.
Yeah.
This is Earth language.
Oh.
And how disappointed she is when Hikaru says that they take her to new places and it's just an imagination, which, again, a theme of the show.
Yeah.
But she's called down for dinner. And one thing I love is, if you remember that her grandfather ends up opening the door and Lala needs to hide somewhere. So Prince just, like, pulls her up to the ceiling and you get to see her, like, she's just dangling off like a cocoon on the ceiling. And there's so much cute animation and stylistic choices that were completely unnecessary, but just give the stylistic flourish here.
Yeah, 'cause I don't even know where to mention it because it's just been everywhere so far. But the faces, like,
Yeah.
they're so good. They're also expressive.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about this more later, but this is something I have to say now because
Yeah.
it's so prevalent and just sticks out so much and contributes so much to the enjoyment.
Yeah. In case anybody can't tell yet, we're going to be gushing about this series a lot because we are surprisingly in extreme love with this series.
Yeah.
Like, no review right now. We're just going to say 10 out of 10. We love it. Like,
Yeah.
This is bliss to us.
Yeah.
And after we see she's called down for dinner, she goes back up with rice balls and everything like that. And Lala's not here because she's outside right now with her, with her AI asking if she can become a Precure. Yeah.
And the AI tells her that there is a 0.00000000012% chance of her becoming a Precure.
And this really bums her out.
It shouldn't, though, because in anime, that means 100% chance you're gonna become a Precure.
Yep. That's the reason we watch Shonen. The idea like, oh, I can't ever do anything.
I've watched Evangelion.
Yeah.
Nothing in Evangelion was supposed to happen, and it did.
Yep. But one thing that's kind of cute, though, also asks, what are Hikaru's chances, or what were her chances of becoming a Precure?
0.000000012%.
Yeah, same chance as Hikaru. Isn't that interesting?
Huh.
Yeah. 0% in anime is practically 100.
Yeah.
So she's really bummed out by the first statistic, surprised by the second one, and before she can really react or think about it, she's interrupted with rice balls.
Oh.
And we get to see them exchange food. She has space gummies.
There was no Hikaru, just rice balls.
Oh yeah, she's interrupted by rice balls. Floating rice balls.
Did I say Spaceballs?
Spaceballs. The movie Spaceballs with, who are the actors for that? Rick Moranis'
yeah, that's
Spaceballs.
the only one I can remember.
Oh.
Okay.
So she's...
Hikaru comes with rice balls.
Yep.
And it's the cutest scene ever.
She comes in with jelly donuts.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, but it's the cutest scene because first we get to see what Lala eats and sees that, oh, look here.
Space gummies.
Space gummies. That's nice. And as a kid, I'd be so happy and want to be her best friend immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, the only thing you have to eat on this cosmic adventure
is delicious tasting gummies
that are probably sugar-free and have every nutrient you need. Yes, that is a fantasy to me.
Absolutely.
And then in exchange, you gotta have... Hikaru ends up giving a rice ball to Lala, and this is the cutest scene.
Oh my god.
Because...
she's scared of them. Oh, Lala is initially terrified.
She's so terrified. And she takes like a little nibble on the very end of it, and she's just so... that's the best thing in the world. And it's just like... It's... But I love, instead of just gushing about it's the best thing ever, how she says how it's the best thing, because Lala is very analytic about everything. Which I think also creates like a really good duo and foil right here, that Lala is very analytic about things and is a foreigner to this area. Meanwhile, you have Hikaru, who is very knowledgeable with the lore and the people of this area, and is about expression and freedom rather than analysis. And I think that makes them bounce off of each other really well, especially as the two main characters out of the four, and the two we have to work with so far.
They should start a podcast.
Yeah, with just two people with like really good chemistry that bounce off of each other. Yeah, they could have like a Star Twinkle like Precure podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting. Somebody should make a Star Twinkle Precure podcast.
Yeah.
I know I would be into it.
I don't know. Like, what's the target demographic for that? Who's going to watch that?
I have no idea, but if they were to find a Star Twinkle Precure podcast, like a study for these Senshi right here, these Precures, it'd be really amazing if they could like, comment, and subscribe.
Absolutely.
And be sure to share and find the podcast on, how about something like Podbean or Google Play or however they happen to find their other podcasts and advertise it to their friends.
Those 2 to 3 places all sound like great options.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a little bit off topic, but I just think it'd be really charming if Hikaru and Lala would do that just because they have such chemistry.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen. But
so
just
more
a
on
fun hypothetical.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But more in the rice ball, she ends up going a little bit deeper onto it, and then she has like little plum in the middle.
Oh,
her tiny
pickled plum.
Her pickled plum in the middle, and a little freak out because Japanese umeboshi plums are like super sour, and you get to see her react as well to that, and she's the cutest little thing, and I love that. I can't. I just gotta gush.
I do too.
Yeah. So, is it shown where she sleeps overnight? Is it back in Hikaru's room, or does she go back to the spaceship?
I don't remember, and I feel bad.
Oh.
Should we tell them how it's been like almost a month since we actually watched the first 2 episodes?
Oh, wow. Way to just destroy the curtain immediately.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Edit that out. Edit it out, Jordan. Edit it out. So next morning comes by and, well, we have more Precure business to do. As, Prince is here to work with the Precures. Lala's not a Precure. Hikaru is, so we have to work with her. And as they're exploring around, we get to see that Lala's just really, really sad that she doesn't get to be one. And she's almost like a little bit upset at Hikaru. Like, why does she get to be one? Like, this is my mission. I scoured the universe to become a Precure and to do the right thing. And this Earth girl ends up getting it. Earth isn't even that impressive.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, she doesn't even have antennae.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's even the point?
Yeah. And, well, in the middle of all this, they get attacked, of course. By Capard and the rest of the Notrays. And it's super unpleasant. But it's really cool because, of course, we get to see Hero Star's transformation. And just saying, like, yeah, I'm going to take them on. Lala, do the useful thing. Take Fua and get out of here.
Yeah.
And you can see that Lala is not doing super well right now. She doesn't really fight. She's just trying to get away right now. Mm-hmm. And she's, unfortunately, really helpless. Yeah. And that's just really sad of wanting to be this big warrior and you have to just say, no, get out of the fight. You have other work to do. But it also shows that with our 4 main characters right now, with Prince, Lala, Fua, and Hikaru, everybody's still pivotal to the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, let's see. Oh, right. So Lala has to go run away from more of the troops. And to make things worse, it seems like Capard is here as well and ready to attack her because Hero Star is a little held up with everything. And Lala's about to get attacked. And Prince,
Lala gets pretty cornered.
Yeah, and Prince is so useful. He, like, throws her up there and says, like, take care of her. He's like, this guy's just a hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is so underrated. And, well, she wants to become a Precure, but she can't. Hero Star shows up and tells her to become a Precure, and she still believes that she can't. And it's really sad. But then, I know that I can't do this line justice, but she ends up saying, you'll become a Precure because you're Lala. And it's so sweet. Oh. They're so cute.
It's so adorable.
They're
precious. I've used my entire repertoire of words to use to describe it.
Synonyms for cute and wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to see...
That's what it is.
But you're going to need to use more of those words. Because after she says that she'll become a Precure to protect Fua. And we get to see Cure Milky's transformation.
Oh my god.
And it's wonderful. Because it's not just about imagination for her. It's talking about her being the person she wants to be. And I think in a previous Senshi Study episode, we talked about the role of transformation and how a lot of time it's this fantasy of I get to be the big kid now and I get to be powerful and I get to be beautiful and all these things. But it makes sense for her because she wants to be this warrior. That's her purpose, and she finally gets to be that. Yeah, it jumped the gun a little bit, and it's doing it very early into the series.
Yeah, I was really surprised about that.
Yeah.
Like, Sailor Moon, which didn't take like 6 episodes to introduce the first other...
Yeah, the other Sailor Scouts.
Yeah.
I think in the original Sailor Moon, the anime it did. I think in the manga or the anime, it was pretty close to instantly as well. Okay. But I think like earlier, the Sailor Moon that we know of was a little slower pace with that. Mm-hmm. They took their time and let us get to know Sailor Moon and doing her solo work a little bit.
Yeah. And so I was genuinely surprised when it appeared like, wow, Lala's actually going to become a Precure in this episode. Because I was really expecting like at least 2 or 3 more episodes.
Episodes in which it could be something like, oh, Lala can go find out how she's useful without being a Precure and stuff like that. But I guess they also want to give that quick fantasy of like, you can do it. And also, the aftermath is going to be interesting as well because you get to see now that she has to work in a team, how does that work? Or now that she's become this thing, she has to have those responsibilities, and how does that work? And I think that's just a different dimension to it. It would have been nice for them to hold off on it a little bit, but we get to see one of the cutest transformation sequences of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Drawing on everything.
Yep.
The cutest song ever.
Yep, we know that it's singing. It's Chica singing. It's mentioned... While I said that like Kira Star, her motif is a star, Kira Milky's motif is a heart, and she has the wonderful heart pose with her hands right afterwards. You know, like you take your thumb and your pointer finger together to make a heart, and your other fingers just go out like little rays or radiance right after. And we're both doing it right now, as amazing for an audio only.
Yeah.
But trust us, we're doing it, and we are just absolutely in love with the everything about Cure. Oh, I forgot to mention, on top of, she has the little...
Asymmetrical socks?
Yeah, the asymmetric cosmic legging.
Yeah.
And it's also, it mirrors Hikaru's.
Yes.
So that when they stand side by side, it's symmetric in between.
Ugh.
It's so cute. And we love her colors a lot.
Oh.
Pink, light blue / green, yellow, white.
It's so good.
They're really appealing to us. It's one thing that's worth mentioning is that we just really like pastels.
Yes.
Yeah, we just like bright colors, and she's just rocking all of them.
Yes.
Oh, how did I not mention it earlier? Like almost the pajama outfit, like before transformation, that both her and Cure Star have. They just look really comfy and glittery.
Oh, very.
And
then Lala's got like her little hair things aside. She's got like the blue, pink, and white. I think.
It's a weird mix between she's painting and brushing it on simultaneously to get a headdress there. Oh, she's on a heart-shaped surfboard on the galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah, so, our heroine of the Milky Way, Cure Milky, and she's so wonderful.
The hero of my heart. The heroine of my heart.
Yeah, and we get to see her use her special move, Milky Shock. So cute. And the face she makes when she does her shock and she
the little pouty face?
Yeah, she makes a little pouty face, like she has to hold her breath or something like that and concentrate really hard. Yeah, it's... I know that Kara mentioned it earlier and she's still completely right about it, but I don't want to understand... Everything she's saying is completely true. Like, everything is extremely expressed in this series, and if you pay attention, like, this isn't god-tier animation, but the way that they make these touches makes it really enjoyable. That you're going to enjoy every scene that you're watching.
Like, there's no way I can really explain it here because it's entirely visual, but I have right here in my notes just a little note about the way they draw smiles in this show.
The smile mouth shapes.
Yeah, because normally in anime, smiles are like a half circle, like kind of like a fish cake shaped deal. Mm-hmm. But in this, it's so round.
There's a concave dip on the very top.
It's almost like a fingernail, sort of.
Yeah, like if you take...
Yeah, it's just so cute. I haven't seen anything like it in other anime.
Yeah, and it's just really nice. If you also look at Cure Star's eyes compared to Cure Milky's eyes, you guys see that they're differently shaped as well, and they're just oh my god,
the character design that goes into this.
Yeah, the character design in this is just A+. I've seen a lot of the other character designs for other Precure series, and I do like them a lot. But this one just takes the cake for at least me, just because, wow, everything is just so A+ and diverse. And one thing that's crazy is that they have really different outfits, but you can still tell they're on the same team, which I really appreciated as well. So to finally go back to the episode, we have the Milky Shock, and one thing I really found funny is that we ended up joking about, it's like, yep, electric's good against water because there's a kappa here. But he even actually mentions it himself.
Yeah.
He was like, water doesn't work well with electricity. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And he's gone.
Yep.
He and his troops teleport out. Team Rocket blasts off again. We'll go see him another day. And the episode ends with the Karu's star color pendant making a weird, little, a ring noise almost.
Yeah.
It has its own ringtone.
Like a little jingle.
Yep. And that's episode 2.
Yeah. And I have a note here that I forgot to mention in the first ending. Jazz hands.
Oh my god.
It's a little touch. Yep. It's nothing big, but it's so cute. I love it.
Yep, dancing. End it with jazz. Oh, they actually, all the Precures draw a star with their finger too.
Yes, they do.
And you see little after effect of where they ended up drawing before, so there's just stars in front of all of them. Because again, this show is just covered in stars. And even on their school uniform, they have stars, and they just double down with the space motif so much, and I just love it. One thing I found surprising is that even compared to Sailor Moon, they really double down with this space motif. Mm-hmm. And I adore that. And jazz hands. All right, then. We'll go move on to the next episode. Episode 3. The Precures are disbanding. Search for the power of the Star Princesses. Okay, so episode 3 starts with everybody trying to figure out what this little jingle noise is. And I think along the way they say, well, this thing has to do with the Precures, or the Star Pens, and he explains a little more of this narrative, each pen correlates to one of the Star Princesses who are based off the Zodiac.
Yes.
And we also see that each of these pens hold this special power. And as we know, like the Chaos Emeralds, if there's a power inside a MacGuffin, the enemies want it too. That makes sense. All right.
Problem in finding it, however, which I'm sure you're going to cover, but They Hikaru and Lala have a difference in opinion on how they should search these things down using this new information.
Yeah, that's right. Lala ends up wanting to do things through analysis because she's a total nerd.
Yes.
Which I can relate to as somebody who spent the past 8 years of my life dedicated towards math.
Yeah, and then Hikaru just wants to go and explore. She wants to follow it.
Yeah, and she wants to just go look around, whatever it is, not really sure what she's doing, but she's going to go find it. And by being proactive, it's at least better than sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see them immediately have these early fights, which is...
Clash.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really interesting is because they have these differences in character, and that creates interesting chemistry as they go back and forth, this also means that they will clash in these different ways. So there are ways that characters can be foils to each other, or they can be complements to each other, depending on the context.
Yeah, and so this gives us faces.
This gives a lot of faces.
We get to see a sleepy Lala, and then a very angry Lala. I'm sorry, I hadn't thought about the fact that this is all audio, and I can't actually show you the pictures.
But they are wonderful. But we get to see a lot of expression in this episode, and that's really
absolutely
wonderful. And one thing that's really interesting is Hikaru's first instinct is go straight to this little downtown marketplace.
Yes.
The place where she ends up buying donuts that she loves so much. And Donuts. Oh, so cute.
Because Fua starts talking.
Yeah.
At the most inopportune moment.
Yep. So realizing, oh, snap, we might get cover blown here.
Yeah.
And Lala and Prince are equally upset by this idea of going to the marketplace because they're aliens and they need to find a way to fit in.
Yeah.
So
how does Prince fit in?
Well, we see that some children like this balloon.
What is this balloon? Where did they get it?
I don't know, but she's going to get her own. So Lala has her own balloon, which is Prince. And again, this goes to the idea of they were doing a really good job of just having him constantly deform. Because before that, his plan was to say, well, I'm not here, I'm just a box. And he deforms into just like this little gelatinous, a D&D gelatinous cube.
Yeah. And he's just like, I'm just a normal box.
Yep. Just nice and subtle. So, yeah, Lala and Prince aren't having the best time. It's a bit uncomfortable because they might get found out by humans.
They've been here for like a day. Like it's totally understandable.
It's scary.
They've been here for like a day. I've gotten attacked twice.
And then when Lala sees that, what is Hikaru doing here? Is she being useful? Hikaru is buying donuts right now. And of course she's not pleased by this whole idea of seeing that she's just trying to buy food right now. And to make it worse, the donut lady says, yeah, I saw a UFO land the other day.
Yeah.
And yeah, this kind of scares everybody. And then she gives a second rumor saying, yeah, there's a lake around here, and some people believe they found at night like this strange glowing dragonfly or something like that. Some bright lights around there, so that's a little weird. And of course, this only creates more of the conflict along the way, because Lala sees that, oh, you're wasting our time, you're blowing our cover, and this only escalates to bigger fights in which Fua is like, Mom, both moms, please stop. Before things get too much worse, though, we have somebody interrupt with a little flower.
Yeah.
And she is, according to Hikaru, like I guess one of the other senpai girls in the middle school, who's considered the sun of the school because she just is so radiant and she glows in a certain way. And her name's Elena, and I absolutely love her.
Wonderful.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting is that this isn't a thing that normally has to be pointed out, but I think it is worth pointing out. She is not fully Japanese. She is definitely Latina, and she's not from around here. And her family has a little flower shop, and she gives one of the flowers along the way, saying like, hey, let's get along here. Just please smile.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love, that she's just cementing her place into mom friend. And if you end up reading like a lot of community and forums around here, I think that's the best way they describe her, as everybody's favorite lesbian mom friend.
Yep.
And I could only love her more from that. But we're going to see more of her in the future, so we're going to hold off on that because she doesn't appear for the rest of the episode.
Nope.
But they're able to cool it a little bit, and they're also able to finally talk to each other about, hey, what's going on? Because they're getting to like bigger and bigger fights here afterward, even after they got the flower. And as they're trying to march along afterwards, things just absolutely escalate. And it sounds like Hikaru is about to say, I hate you to her, and
she's about to say, Daiki.
Yep. And meanwhile, you can see that Lala says, I don't get you humans. You're just like kind of like wasting time. You're weird to me. And that's completely fair. She's not from around here, and things are scary.
We're like soft serving this though. They're yelling this. They're like very upset.
Yeah. And before things get worse, we have little Fua.
Little Fua comes up.
Mom, stop crying or stop fighting.
Yeah, stop fighting.
Yeah. And then it's like two parents who have to just do things for the kid.
She just keeps saying, like, get along.
Yeah, it's so sweet. And she's still holding Elena's flower, too, while she's doing this. And, she's this little sweetheart.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It broke my heart.
And we get to see the girls actually apologize this episode, too, which was really sweet. And we get to understand what's going on. And we get to see that Hikaru's just not this just dense person wanting food all the time. She just honestly thought that this marketplace was a place where she got the most information. And she's a very social girl, so she can find out what rumors are going on. And technically, it was true. She learned that, one, people did have rumors of UFO around, and two, there is something mysterious around here. And then because she was kind of like just spinning around, she was able to get a small additional jingle at some point as well. And she's trying to figure that out on her own. But because Lala was analyzing, she wouldn't have time to listen to Hikaru. And it was just nice to see what both of them bring to the table. And why, well, there's a kid's show. It's just the moral here is just try to listen to each other before fighting. Communication. Both of us are interested in communication studies.
Yes, very much so.
And it's just so great that they're trying to emphasize that little aspect of to get through a fight isn't about just resolving the fight. It's about trying to understand what other people are trying to go through. And that's how they resolve things. And they can see by working together and working like a compass, they can use the pendant to find their first pen.
Yep. And so Hikaru leans down to get it.
And then one of the knot rays just picks it up.
Picks it up, right. Just like taking candy from a baby. It was just comical.
Yeah, I'm sure it was supposed to be like a serious thing. Like,
no. I'm sure. Like, if you're a kid, you're like, oh my god,
they took it.
How could that have happened? We didn't see that coming.
It was really funny. It's so out of nowhere. We haven't seen
It's so casual.
The only time we've seen any of the bad guys is that earlier in the episode when they talked about the whole idea of like the dragonfly by the lake, we see that there is Kapard by the lake taking like a bath there, and meets this other girl, the Tengu girl. Was it Tenjo?
Yes, Tenjo.
Yeah, this like gorgeous Tengu lady.
And the first we see of her is like a bright silhouette on like this ledge of her stepping, doing like this big dramatic step click with her heels.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, there's no way that was not an homage to Satsuki Kiryuin from Kill la Kill.
Oh, it absolutely has to be. I feel like this series is just like a love letter in a lot of different directions.
Oh, it definitely is.
It's also kind of cute that the first bad guy general is like this Kappa, and then like she's a Tengu as well.
Yeah, it's got the big long nose.
Yeah, but it's kind of wonderful because she has like this. It's like the big long nose on her mask, and it was just a really good way to play it out while still making her like feminine and villainy
and quite attractive
and pretty. I have a crush on her too. I love her.
So anyway, Space Satsuki is out for the pen.
Yeah, because one thing I really like is these different generals have different missions too.
Yes.
Kapard is mainly looking for Fua to stop the Precures. But meanwhile, Tenjo is looking for the pens themselves for that power source. So it's kind of interesting to see that these aren't just competing generals. They're generals who have different roles, different powers, and different ways they wish to do things. Because one thing that's interesting is that in the previous two episodes, Kapard has his lightsaber. And he's immediately going out against these girls. But for Tenjo, she doesn't lay a finger. She's a commander. And she is basically strategic with the way that she uses her forces. So they have her, like, they're literally fanning out to make this strategic position so they can't take it back. So, well, Hikaru just dives straight in, gets blasted a ton of times. It's not fun getting a shot, but she's a Precure, so she'll shake it off. And Lala isn't doing super well, but they decide working together, they can do it.
Yeah, and so we get dual transformation scene.
Yes.
They transform together and sing together.
Yes, and that's one thing I really love a lot, because it's something I didn't even think about before of, oh, wow, what are the ramifications of having this, like, the singing part in transformation, is that when they transform together, they sing together.
Just when you thought that it, like, the transformations couldn't get any better.
Yep. And it makes me really look forward to later in the series when you see all the Precures at once doing a team transformation.
So excited.
Oh, I'm so hyped for that. And you get to see them have this dual transformation. Super cute, super fun. And especially for these two, because there's that symmetry between them. Oh, God, it's so adorable. But you get to see them work together. And the way they have it happen is they still jump in the air again to avoid these ground forces. They blast up. And then Cure Milky has her little heart shield. She can create a little shield now as like a new power of hers. And then after creating this barrier, they end up like still falling and flying through the air and just tossing her into the air. And that way, while everything's distracted, Kira Star is able to take the pen back, the pen gets purified and we get to see Taurus because we get to see our first upgraded move as we're going to have a Shonen power-up.
Yeah.
Because we have Taurus Star Punch this time. And you can see her just like nuke the entire area.
Oh, absolutely.
With the Star Punch, and Team Rocket blasts us again, and this was just delightful. And afterwards, once the smoke is cleared, we get a, well, wakey wakey with the princess.
Yeah.
And with waking the princess up, we have to go have the pen connected to the pendant.
Mm-hmm.
And once those things are connected, we get to awaken the princess again. And she has to go draw in her notebook the constellation for Taurus.
Oh, and she's so pretty, though.
Yeah, and before that, we get to see her, though. We get to see Fua transform, actually.
Yes. Oh, my God. So cute. Cow Fua.
Yeah, we have a little Taurus Fua, and Taurus Fua ends up opening a little warp gate to send them to the Star Palace. And the Star Palace is kind of like an Ocarina of Time when you see the sages just sitting around in space. It's kind of like that, except with 12 slots. And we get to see Miss Taurus, who is just...
so pretty.
So pretty. Oh, and she was also the one who sent Prince away for the first time as well. With
Yes.
Fua. And I think that was all. Was that also like a sci-fi reference of saying like, "Please save us, Prince. You're our only hope."
I think so.
That feels pretty sci-fi. That's a Battlestar thing, right?
No.
It's a Trek war.
Yeah.
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 Yep, I got
Definitely.
it. It's a Trek war, and we get to see, but it's also like it feels a little bit video gamey. Of you have saved. Thank you so much for saving me, but there are still 11 left of us. Please keep
like
searching.
Ocarina of Time. Like
Yep.
you had to get the gemmy thingies.
You have to get the little gemmies, and then you have to go get the other gemmies, and then you have to go get the sage, meet all the sages. Yeah, and that was just you can feel this, and it almost feels like we want this to be a video game.
Yeah, like I have that right here.
Yeah.
Just when we saw the pen power ups, that was
Yeah.
the moment where I was like, "This makes such a cool video game."
I do want to have a Senshi study episode later in which we could talk about how we would build our own Mahou Shoujo video games.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like that a lot. Because just from watching the way they end up fighting around in this, you could feel like, oh, maybe it could be like a Tecmo Koei game in which, you know, like kind of like Hyrule Warriors, in which you're just going through huge hordes all at once with the Natres. Or it can be like an RPG, or maybe it can be a beat 'em up. Maybe it could be like Final Fantasy and be like an action RPG type thing. I'd be down for so much. And if they had co-op as well, or you can make your own. We could talk about this for hours. So
Yeah, I talked about the MMO idea, where just everyone just
Yeah.
makes their own Precure, and you have a million Precures all
Yep.
in one
And
place.
and you can create your own parties as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about this for hours, and I'm pretty sure we will in the future.
Yes, in the future.
But I think that concludes episode 3. With I guess the last thing before the episode ends is
One last note.
Yeah.
If I may say, we kind of skipped over when they're transforming together. We noticed the little detail of when you see their eyes close up. We have Lala, who has like a predominantly like sea green color motif.
Mm-hmm.
She has a little bit of pink in her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Hikaru, who's pink
yeah.
and has a little bit of green in her eyes.
we really hardcore ship it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is not with any like special like motive or anything like that.
No.
We just think that they're really cute, and there's been a lot of LGBTQ content anyways in a lot of Mahou Shoujo. Like the most famous series ever, like you have Madoka or Sailor Moon,
Yeah.
are some of the most like high lesbian energy series.
Yeah,
And
well, Madoka's, I mean,
Yeah.
spoilers,
Yep.
entirely about lesbian. It all happens because lesbian.
Yeah, and we're saying that as people who are also there as well. We're not just like pointing or laughing at it. We are like, no, we're not just allies. We are those things.
Yeah.
We are LGBTQ, and like it's really nice to see that representation, and it happens a lot in Mahou Shoujo.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's the happy and cute ones, the classic ones, the surprisingly unnecessarily dark ones, it happens in every single one of them that there is a lot of queer content, and I really appreciate that.
I do too.
But I guess to end off this episode, we get to see Prince just say, yeah, this is the power of the Precures when they're working together. I wonder what it'd be like if we get even more of them. As the camera pans over to Elena's little flower that she gave off.
Yeah.
And credits. Okay, so we don't need to do any real ratings because this is
We
a
both know it's 10 out of 10.
It's 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 if we're allowed, S tier.
Yeah.
We love this.
Ugh,
We can't help to
it
gush.
gives me life.
Is there anything else that you want last second gush about? Because
Ugh.
as our study buddy, I'm going to be honest. For this study segment, I just want to gush. because there's so much we can talk about of tiny details that we appreciate from the series. And next time we'll have a real study break. But today's study break is just us gushing.
It just makes me happy. Like, there's no intellectuality to this. There doesn't need to be. I'm just happy. What can I say but just express my genuine joy watching this?
I think there are just so many different ways that we can see why, if other Precure series are like this, I can see how it was able to persist for 15 years. And I'm sure every single one's different. And I'm sure that there are some that people liked, some that people didn't like. And that's fine. As both of us are really new to Precure, I think both of us can now kind of see the appeal behind it. Because this is probably like now in our top 10 favorite anime of all time.
Yeah. Like,
and we're just starting.
Like we've already said, like we both can see ourselves like when we're children.
Yeah.
Like anywhere from like 5 to 7, 9. Like we would love this. We would have loved to have this in our lives back then.
Absolutely. Like if I were just, I remember when I was like 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old.
Yeah.
23 years old. I'd be watching Pokemon. But I got into anime by like whatever was on like Toonami, Kids WB and stuff like that. And I know that there's a lot of flack against the idea of like Glitter Force and stuff like that. And I get it because localization can be pretty frustrating for people who are big fans of things. And if things are pretty awkward or cringy or not faithful, I can see why some fans would be upset. But if I got to see a series like this when I was younger, I would be in love with it forever. And here's the thing, we're adults who are in love with it now.
Yeah.
I think that just shows that despite being, it's unarguably a kid's show.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It's just really fun. And one thing that's also notable is that as adults, we were never bored for a second. This has lightning pacing.
It absolutely like flew by. Like the first time we watched the first 2 episodes, like every single time it would finish, I'm like, that was 20 minutes?
Yeah, she was almost upset by how fast it was.
Yeah, like I needed more.
Yeah, so we took in more. And we're really excited to do more of these because we watched 3 episodes, but that felt like an instant. It was like, we watched like 1 episode of something.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that things didn't happen. Things were constantly happening. Whether it was just like humor or character development or story or whatever it's going to be. But there's just a lot going on, blistering pacing.
I think I've just gotten so jaded from anime that are trying to like be clever and subversive and like try to be like, oh, I'm so unique, I'm doing this or saying this, that it's just so nice to have something that's just being itself. It's played straight, it's unironic, it's just passionate about being fun.
Actually, I think this is completely a theory, but one of the things that when you think about the pacing for manga is that everything has to be chapter by chapter, and because of that, you pace it chapter to chapter, right? But when you adapt it to anime, things are relatively slow paced then or awkwardly paced. They either have to reform things or they have to fit multiple chapters into the same episode. If you're Black Clover, you should fit it into 1 episode per chapter. Or if you're something like One Punch Man or Mob Psycho 100, you rewrite most of the story and take like the core beats and think about how you can turn it into a really good series. So pacing is a really awkward thing when you want to adapt things. And because a lot of my favorite things, like Zombieland Saga, for example, doesn't have an original manga. It was just straight to anime. And I think because of that, they can actually embrace what it means to make an episode. When you end up doing something like Shonen, for example, or even some shoujo, you end up having an episode pass, and it feels like the episode is just the sequel to the previous episode and a prequel to the next one.
Yep.
But in this one, every single episode is very self-contained, and because it's self-contained and doesn't have to go chain things together too much, it has lightning pacing. In the first episode, they went into magic within the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It was really surprising to me because I thought they would spend some time fleshing out the world and taking their time. But no. She finished her first drawing, immediately magical. And I found that really surprising of how lightning fast the pacing was and how I didn't have any struggle to keep up despite that. There was just a lot of stuff happening in 3 episodes, and it felt good.
Yeah, it was all easy to follow.
But it was still also... But this isn't to say that it was shallow either. It was just really fun.
It's just engaging, good, clean, simple fun.
What else could we gush about?
Oh, gosh.
I want to have a quick gush about what I think are the thematics of this entire series.
Sure.
I'm a complete nerd who loves to look at things like symbolism and stuff like that. But I think when we combine the primary, I guess I put this series into 3 different pillars. And I would say one is relationships, one is the literal one of science fiction and space, and the last one would be art. And the way that you use the word imagination all the time. Kira Star ends up greeting each episode with, I'm going to use my imagination. You get to see every single transformation, have them literally draw on their transformation outfits. Every single part from the opening and ending is extremely colorful and well animated. You get to see them also draw the constellations in order to summon things back again. And it just makes me wonder if, like, when you have the idea of art together and relationships and space, that there's just this fundamental theme that this show is about endless possibility. When you just want to tie all this together into a nice knot. I also love how a lot of this series is a love letter to just a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I feel like, obviously, we have Picard as, Captain Picard. The opening and ending have little synthetic parts, which make it feel a little more sci-fi-esque. Mm-hmm. We have actual aliens. We have actual spaceships. We have the greeting that Lala has feel a little bit E.T.-esque. We have this main character who's super into cryptids and space. Her father has this, entire observatory area. Mm-hmm. And then, one of her friends is this older guy, the one who looks like Dr. Light, Mr. Mm-hmm. Rio, who's also, actually owns the local observatory or planetarium or whatever it is. And you get to see her room, which is just covered in books about space and drawings of space. All of it ends up just tying together to say, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun here. Anything can happen.
I don't have anything else to add.
All right. Then I think we're going to go close off with our plugs. So,
sounds good.
Guest plugs. Where can people find you?
Oh, gosh. I've got a Twitter at Beta Carotene. Can put that in the doobly-doo? There is a doobly-doo somewhere,
I can put it in the doobly-doo. And
yeah.
I think I also follow you on Senshi Study.
Yeah, it's kind of like the carrot thing, but with my name. And I also have a YouTube channel called that. There's nothing on it yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe animations, maybe stuff like this. And then I have a Let's Play channel, an awful Let's Play channel with one of my other friends, Seth, called Blidiobames.
Yeah, Blidiobames is really fun. I think Sanic Ball and Galgun are probably some of my favorite things you've made there.
Well, that's 2 of 3 series we've done.
If you're going to watch something on there, watch Galgun or Sanic Ball. You can skip Portal.
Yeah, just skip Portal. It's not, it was a test run. We were getting our voices.
Yeah.
Just watch Galgun.
You're getting your voices wet and your feet heard.
Yep.
Also, she does all the thumbnails herself, which are very well made. I absolutely adore those. I believe she also does the editing.
Yes.
Which I can appreciate as the editor here. And, of course, I'm going to go have to plug for myself, Cuddlefish Tweet on Twitter. And there's also a Senshi Study Twitter now. Please go follow that. If you have any comments or anything like that, you can go put those in if you want to go talk about the previous episode. And we'll go put them into the next episode if you actually put those there, if you want to go be in the next episode. On top of that, I'll probably also give updates when there are going to be future episodes. And I'll probably give tiny rants, tiny discussions, or anything else that's probably not worth a full episode of me making onto that Twitter. So please go follow that. If you're on iTunes or YouTube, whatever you're using for this, you know how the drill is. If you're able to comment, share, anything else to help us out, that would be fantastic, and we're really happy to hear anything that people have to say anyways. But I think that's all we have today, so class dismissed.